This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
Good morning and welcome to the newspaper analysis segment on the morning drive, Providence Television International. My name is Ugbebo Ikikwa. Quite a wonderful day, and my guest in the studio this morning would also agree. I have with me Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome to the studio.
Well, thank you very much. It's a bright day, very bright indeed. And as usual, I'd like to welcome all our viewers at home and abroad.
As usual, we'll be going down to the newspaper analysis. We'll be starting off with the Matrix newspapers, where we have on the front page, outrage greets fuel price hike. It will further deepen poverty. It is also ill-timed and insensitive to Nigerians' prevailing economic challenges. Those are riders to it. We'll tie this to the Daily Independent. We'll move straight to the Daily Independent front page. Outrage greets NNPC's fresh petrol price hike amid hardship. Jacks up petrol price to 1,030 naira in Abuja, 998 naira in Lagos. NLC asks federal government to reverse pump price of PMS immediately, and the federal government taking Nigerian youths for granted. This is coming from northern youths.
I think we're in a very serious dilemma in this country. It seems to me we have even reached the crossroads, not know where to go. And I'm happy that a lot of Nigerians have been talking about real outrage. When the newspapers saying that very clearly. I really do not know if we still have true governance in this country. Because you see, in governance, one of the principles of good governance is the synergy between government and the governed. That synergy is totally absent now. There's a deficit, very huge deficit somewhere, because Nigerians are groaning. They are groaning. And I've said it before on this program, I think about a week or so ago, that look, how can you explain a situation where Nigerians are suffering and the elite, they are living flamboyantly? There's a disconnect, total disconnect. And fuel, as I've often said, is at the base of all of this. If something touches fuel in this country, the whole system is affected. And that's what we are saying. Maybe you'll come to Vanguard later. Beautiful, beautiful headline. And the Vanguard screams 3 increases within 2 months. Yeah. Within a couple of months. So what is happening? Is it that we don't know what we are doing, or is deliberate? Deliberate in the sense that somebody somewhere wants to put Nigerians in perpetual servitude. I don't know. I don't know.
Much as later on, during our interview session, we will be looking at leadership and the divine order. Can we regard this as an absence of compassion for the Nigerian people?
Total absence. And again, I've said it quite often, that where you have leadership and there's no compassion, you've lost it. You've lost it completely. All the leaders in history have been leaders who showed compassion. Religious leaders, political leaders, whatever. They showed compassion. Compassion is at the base. Once the absence of compassion becomes the norm, then leadership is nowhere. Okay? And that's the synergy I was talking about. Yeah. And the Bible is right. As part of the divine order, the Bible is right, always, that when good people are on the throne, the people smile. In other words, there's a synergy. But when it is on the contrary, the people groan. Nigerians are not smiling. Majority of Nigerians are not smiling. They are groaning by the day. Just this morning about fuel, 1,125 naira. And that's a place where to be about the cheapest in this part of the state, in Benin, for instance. Others now will be selling at 1,130, and it's rising by the minute. Okay? where do we now go from here? Where do we go from here? Meanwhile, the Yuletide season is approaching. People should celebrate naturally, no matter how bad the country is. They should celebrate. And how much, we don't know now how much rice is going to be, bag of rice during Christmas. People are going to travel. They're going to meet their families and loved ones, okay? How are they going to cope with transport fares? How are they going to cope with simple festivities? How? How are they going to cope? So that's a problem, and it's a big dilemma we are in.
Still on the front page of the Daily Independent, if you remember, the NLC is asking that federal government should reverse the pump price. Do you think that the NLC is even part of the problem for not crying out early enough?
I think they're a big problem. Very big problem. In fact, I think the NLC should even bury his head in shame. Now they have been entrapped. Ajero said the other day they have been tricked into certain situations. It's beyond that. Because where was the NLC when subsidy issue came up? When? At the very initial stage. Ab initio. Where was NLC? They all kept quiet until things began to go the other way. Now they are crying. Because people are not even taking them serious anymore. No. Are they now going to call people out on strike or something? No, I'm asking a question. Are they going to call people on strike? Because people don't believe in NLC anymore. And by the way, I've also said this. All their struggles were towards people who work for government. 10% probably. All their struggles. What of the remaining 90%? What of the remaining 90%? Who is going to take care of their interests? So, NLC now has been caught in a web. Let us see how they wriggle out of it. I'm sure there will be some pronouncements in the next couple of days. Yes, I hope so.
Well, we'll be waiting for that. The next issue that we'll be looking at, we'll go to This Day newspapers, the front page. Finally, subsidy is gone. It will bring me to a question. NNPC sells petrol for 1,030 naira per litre in Abuja and 998 naira in Lagos. Marketers confirm return of competition in downstream oil sector. Now, that screaming header, finally subsidy is gone, was there after the removal of subsidy. Still subsidy.
I don't even want to talk about that because it's very scandalous. I don't want to talk about it at all. Let's not waste our time to talk about that. In any case, have we not been told that Dangote has opened the doors to independent marketers?
Yes.
Which means that obviously prices should have come tumbling down. Right. But look at, we have a lot of contradictions in this country, you know. Contradictions that you cannot explain. Why is it that it's now that Dangote is coming in that prices again have shot up? What does that tell us? No, what does that tell us? We need NNPC to talk. We need Dangote to talk. We need independent marketers to even talk so that we can add all of these things together and forge a way forward.
Well, moving away from the issue as regards PMS, we'll be going down to the front page of the Daily Times, where we have local government autonomy. Comply with Supreme Court verdict. Senate tells governors. Warns governors not to tamper with allocations to 774 councils. Akpabio says National Assembly will alter any aspect of the Constitution to ensure full autonomy for local government administration.
Look at the jigsaw puzzle. It's a jigsaw puzzle. And we need to fix all these things so that we can come back to reality. The Supreme Court has spoken, and very clearly, on this issue. Why has it become a subject again in the Senate? I understand it was a bit rowdy a couple of days ago.
Yes, it was.
Right. Why has it become an issue? In any case, the money that is allocated to the local government goes direct to the local government. It doesn't come through the states anymore, except we are saying that the governors have a way of shortchanging the whole thing. They should tell us that rather than going around telling us all kinds of things. If they know that the governors can shortchange the system, then you talk about that directly, okay? Because what the Supreme Court has said is law. It's binding on all the sectors and all the parties. It's binding. Binding on the federal government, it's binding on the state government, it's binding on the local governments. So, and it's the Supreme Court that can overrule itself. It's the only court that can overrule itself. If they feel so aggrieved, then they go back again to the Supreme Court and open up the case all over again. All right? So, but it's not enough to say that the Senate, they want to change certain aspects of the Constitution and all that. Why? The Supreme Court has spoken. So what I expect that should be done is that the local government, they have a group called Algon. Okay? Algon is a body, the umbrella body of all local government. They can go back to the Supreme Court and say that they have been shortchanged. But in any case, I've said it here before, some local governments, tragically, they are even prodding some state governments to be sure that they still hide under the banner of local government. When the Supreme Court has spoken very eloquently about this, and it is law, except somebody somewhere is hiding something. Otherwise, I don't see any issue here at all.
Though we'll be debating a little, it brings me to this issue of having to flout Supreme Court judgments. If you remember very well, a state government actually said, as regards the judgment from the Supreme Court, as regards VIOs, actually said that Lagos State will not be affected. Define the Supreme Court judgment.
How many governors are free from that in this country? I mean, people, you see, this is the rot in the system. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. People defy orders of the courts at will, and nothing happens. Nothing, absolutely happens. So we've descended into a very lawless society. Very lawless. And that is because the judiciary itself has boxed itself into a corner over time. Okay? That is why I'm happy about what former President Jonathan said the other day. There's a litany of court orders. One will come from Abuja, one will come from Port Harcourt, one will come from somewhere. Courts of coordinate jurisdiction. Coordinate jurisdiction. Party A will say, no, I will obey the one from Abuja. Party B will say, no, that one doesn't hold waters. I will obey the one in Port Harcourt or whatever. So there is a big issue. So there has to be a reform. In fact, it's a challenge for the Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Kekereekun. This is a moment of challenge for the Honorable Chief Justice. Because, you see, when these things continue like this, we descend into the Stone Age, a situation of total lawlessness. And that's what is happening. You can count the number of governors that have defied orders of the courts openly. They don't even hide it. In fact, some governors have said, no, keep those orders to yourself. I will not obey. Some governors have said, I don't want to mention names. They have said it openly. Right. When it goes beyond that, it goes to private individuals. That's the real danger. Because government is an institution. By the time individuals begin to disobey court orders, then we know that we have a problem. Yes, we will know that we have a problem.
Talking about problems, let us go down to the front page of the Guardian newspapers. Frustration, hardship sinks more Nigerians into depression.
Beautiful headline.
Today, actually, incidentally, is the World Mental Health Day. It's a day set aside by the UN. It's a day observed by the UN. World Mental Health Day. Frustration, hardship sink more Nigerians into depression.
Actually, more of WHO is an arm of United Nations, but it's more of WHO matter. Depression. Beautiful headline by the Guardian. Please show it again, Jane. Let's see it again. Beautiful headline. Beautiful, well captured. Into depression. They didn't say into poverty. Into depression, meaning that, of course, in psychiatry you have depressive illnesses. Then you have psychotic illnesses. I've done a lot about mental disorders. I've interviewed experts, consultants over time. There are two: psychiatric illnesses, psychotic rather, and depressive illnesses. Right? And that's exactly what the Guardian has captured very beautifully. When you have frustrations like this on a regular basis, and there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel, people go into suicide, which is very rampant now. People jumping into lagoons. I mean, one happened the other day, about a couple of weeks ago, openly, in broad daylight, jumped into the lagoon in Lagos, and people are committing suicide on a daily basis. On a daily basis. Why? Because they have reached the end of their wits. From there on, they cannot proceed. Nothing to feed their family. They cannot pay house rent. No hope. It's a total situation of absolute despair. total despondency. That's what it is. And many people cannot take it. They cannot handle it. And I understand now that cases of mental illnesses have gone up, shot up in our psychiatric hospitals. Yes, figures don't lie, statistics do not lie. They have shot up completely. And that is why the theme for this year, sorry again, we are digressing.
Yes.
The theme for this year is mental illness and the office.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. Workplace mental health.
Yes. Workplace and health. Okay? They know what they are talking about. And once things like this begin to happen, people begin to have depression. All right? They begin to have insomnia.
Yes.
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 Sleep disorders. Can't sleep anymore. And it's a mental situation. Right? They begin to have delusion. You understand? They begin to have hallucination. All right? They begin to hear voices, paranoia. They begin to hear all kinds of voices. All right? Part of the problem we are going through. Nigerians are below poverty line. And government should be told in clear terms that Nigerians are not happy. They are not happy. It affects everybody. We are only just saying it loud and clear. But it affects everybody. In fact, 75 to 80% of households, if not more, are affected by this issue currently going on in Nigeria. Yes. 75, 80, maybe more. There is no household in this country now that's not feeling the pinch, except perhaps for the high-ups, political elite. Otherwise, even if you pay Nigerians 100,000 now, the least, how long can it take them?
A bag of rice.
A bag of rice is over 100,000 now. And it will rise more by the time we approach Christmas.
This brings us to the interview segment. We'll take a little break. On the interview segment, do not go away. The topic will be leadership and the divine order. But just before we go, I know that Dr.
Have we taken the Vanguard headline?
We haven't actually done that. I think the MCR is working on that presently. The Vanguard will be coming up very, very soon. While we are waiting for that, I know that Dr. Gariba will want to throw, or rather just talk a little bit more on the well-being of the average Nigerian.
What does the Constitution say? Government is to ensure the welfare of citizens, okay? Security, safety, and welfare of citizens, safety of citizens and property. That's what the Constitution says. And it's not by accident that this has become a constitutional matter. In other words, by law, Nigerians are supposed to enjoy, some fairly good welfare. Because you see, this is a land flowing with milk and honey. Ideally, Nigeria is a rich country, over-blessed. It's a particularly and peculiarly rich country. We are over-blessed. All the mineral resources that we find around the world, they are buried underneath. Yes. Forest resources are here. Beautiful sunshine is here. We don't have natural disasters as such. The only thing we have is probably floods. Have we experienced any earthquake in this country?
No.
Have we experienced typhoon? Have we experienced any tsunami? There are countries around the world, every year, they experience all this, and yet they survive. And they are developed. So we are over-blessed, And that's the thing that amazes me and many other Nigerians, that in spite of these blessings that God has placed on us, Nigeria is still crawling. At 64, we're still crawling. And I think it's very unfortunate.
Well, this prompts us to take this break. We'll be coming up the interview segment. I've just promoted that leadership and the divine order. Our guest would have so much to talk about as regards leadership and the divine order. Don't go away. Please stay tuned.